We had just gotten used to the fact that asteroid Apis is very unlikely to hit Earth after all, and now along comes 2020 for YR4, the next near-Earth asteroid, is causing a stir among scientists. Is it dangerous or not? NASA issued an updated warning in February 2025, and it is cause for concern. 2020 for YR4 could hit Earth in 2032. While some experts are already trying to play down the threat, China is considering deploying nuclear weapons in space to defend against asteroids. Asteroids are keeping us on our toes at the moment. First be new raised tempers, then K-Mouse, and now the new threat is 2020 for YR4. We'll paint a preliminary picture of the situation and show you how it will continue. 1. The discovery. Asteroid 2020 for YR4 was discovered on December 27, 2024, by the Chilean station of the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Blast Alert System in Rio Gerardo. The discovery occurred when the asteroid was close to Earth and thus became visible. Due to their size and darkness, asteroids that pose a potential threat usually only appear on astronomers' observation screens when they have come very close to Earth. The first observations of the asteroid were made by Earth-based telescopes that track the orbit and brightness of the new asteroid. If the object moves away again, tracking can be difficult. Asteroids disappear into the darkness of the universe until they suddenly reappear on the radar. Asteroid observation is therefore considered one of the most challenging branches of astronomy. 1. Size, composition, and speed. Asteroid 2020 for YR4 is estimated to be between 40 and 90 meters wide, which makes it roughly comparable to the length of a commercial aircraft or the height of a 15-story building. This estimate is based on observations of reflected sunlight, which was used to determine the size of the asteroid. Experts emphasize that the exact size of the asteroid is still unclear at this time. Further observations are needed to determine its dimensions more accurately. No precise data is yet available regarding the asteroid's composition. 2020 for YR4 is still too new to be able to make any further statements. Investigations with special telescopes, such as the James Webb Space Telescope, are still pending. Astronomers hope that the Webb telescope will be able to measure the asteroid's heat radiation and thus provide more precise information about its composition. At the moment, experts estimate the speed of asteroid 2020 for YR4 at about 17 kilometers per second. This high speed would have a significant destructive force in the event of an impact. In addition to size, composition, and speed, the angle at which it enters the Earth's atmosphere is crucial to determining the expected destructive force. 1. Impact probability. Since its initial discovery on December 27, 2024, scientists have been closely monitoring the trajectory of 2020 for YR4 and calculating the impact probability several times. Initially, the probability of an impact was around 1.6%. Then, in February 2025, the alarming news came. Now NASA issued a warning that the probability of impact had suddenly doubled. The risk of 3.1% is the highest asteroid warning NASA has ever issued. The news caused a stir worldwide. Shortly afterwards, some comparative calculations were said to have concluded that the orbit calculation of 2020 for YR4, which led to the disturbing warning, was wrong. The new calculation only yielded an impact probability of 0.28%. Shortly afterwards, the SAA published a probability of 0.16%. These values caused confusion among ordinary people. Are the calculations now clear, and how can the ups and downs be explained? Critical experts advise that the asteroid should continue to be monitored closely. Further calculations will be necessary on an ongoing basis in order to immediately detect any changes in the course of 2020 for YR4. Despite the corrected impact probability, the asteroid will still pass very close to Earth in December 2032. Potential impact zone. The first calculations show possible impact zones that could include North and South America, the Pacific, South Asia, the Arabian Sea, and parts of Africa. 1. Even the smallest changes in the asteroid's trajectory could lead to completely different risk zones. Astronomers are concerned about the fact that the asteroid's potential target area currently lies over some heavily populated areas or stretches of sea where tidal waves could cause significant damage. If an asteroid were to hit near the North or South Pole in sparsely populated regions such as Siberia or Greenland, the risks would be far lower. At the moment, however, it's still too early to make any definitive statements about the further development of the risk areas and the probability of impact. 1. Potential impact zone. The first calculations show possible impact zones that could include North and South America, the Pacific, South Asia, the Arabian Sea, and parts of Africa. The first warnings from NASA, ESA, and other space agencies should concern countries such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Sudan, Nigeria, Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador. Even the smallest changes in the asteroid's trajectory could lead to completely different risk zones. Astronomers are concerned about the fact that the asteroid's potential target area currently lies over some heavily populated areas or stretches of sea where tidal waves could cause significant damage. If an asteroid were to hit near the North or South Pole in sparsely populated regions such as Siberia or Greenland, the risks would be far lower. At the moment, however, it's still too early to make any definitive statements about the further development of the risk areas and the probability of impact. A similar mission would probably be entirely sufficient to push YR4 out of its collision path. Another possibility, which has not yet been tested in space, is a gravitational tractor. This hypothetical spacecraft could be placed near the asteroid to deflect it for months or years using minimal gravitational forces. As a last resort, experts discuss the nuclear deflection or destruction of an asteroid. If time is of the essence, a series of targeted nuclear explosions close to the surface could change the orbit or break up YR4. However, such a countermeasure could create dangerous debris. ESA, NASA, and other space agencies are currently working on a global asteroid defense. Early warning systems such as NEO-Surveyor, Atlas, and others have been in operation for years, and their detection rates are constantly improving. However, simply recognizing the threat is only the first step. In an emergency, we need to be able to defend ourselves. It's crucial that asteroids are detected early because the earlier an asteroid is discovered, the longer we have to plan a deflection. Probes like OSIRIS-REx or the Japanese Hayabusa mission study the composition of asteroids and bring rock samples back to Earth. If impactors like DART are to hit safely or a detonation is to be successful, we need to know everything about the composition of the asteroid. Only then can explosive charges be optimally placed and impactors correctly aligned. 1. China's solo effort in space nuclear weapons to defend against asteroids. China is also planning to launch a probe by 2030 that will ram an asteroid and divert it from its trajectory. This mission will be similar to NASA's DART mission. The Chinese probe will first analyze the physical properties of the asteroid and then crash into it to study the effects. China has also indicated that the country has for the first time investigated how nuclear weapons could be used to defend against asteroids. This method is currently still controversial. Experts advise using this variant only in extreme cases when an asteroid is discovered shortly before impact. China has not tested any nuclear weapons in space to repel asteroids. Instead, Chinese researchers have conducted theoretical studies and simulations to investigate the effectiveness of nuclear weapons in repelling asteroids. These studies show that nuclear weapons could be an effective method of deflecting an asteroid from its trajectory, especially if there is little warning. However, concerned researchers emphasize that the use of nuclear weapons in space is associated with significant risks. The dangers of nuclear fallout and pollution of other celestial bodies have not yet been sufficiently investigated. While the international community continues to consider this method only as a last resort, China has already presented plans to deploy nuclear weapons in space. China emphasizes that such a facility would be beneficial for the entire globe. If we were to discover an asteroid only hours or days before an impact, such a nuclear defense system could react quickly in an emergency. Click subscribe now and be there for every new video.